You've seen this mask everywhere, right? It's become this global symbol of rebellion, of protest, of fighting the power. But here's the crazy part. The real guy behind the mask? He was fighting for the exact opposite of what this symbol means today. This is the absolutely wild story of how a 17th century religious extremist became the 21st century face of revolution. So how did we get from there to here? Let's dive in.
Okay, so first things first, you have to wrap your head around this massive disconnect. The mask, the symbol, it stands for anarchy, for being anti-government. But the man, the actual Guy Fawkes, he wanted a religious theocracy. He wasn't trying to tear down the system for freedom. He was trying to tear it down to install an even stricter Catholic-run system. Total opposites.
So that's the big question, isn't it? How on earth does a guy who wanted to install a puppet monarch become the poster boy for movements trying to smash the state? Well, the answer is a 400-year-long journey that involves a failed terror plot, centuries of strange folklore, a brilliant comic book, and of course, the internet.
To really get the symbol, you gotta understand the man first. And his story doesn't start in some revolutionary's den. Nope. It starts in Yorkshire, England, with a family that was pretty much part of the Protestant establishment he would later try to destroy.
Now this term right here, recusant Catholic, is the key to everything. See, after Fawkes's dad died, his mom remarried a recusant Catholic. Suddenly, he was plunged into this underground world of secret worship and constant fear of the state. In his world, just practicing your faith was a crime. Hiding a priest, that was high treason. You can see how that environment might radicalize a young man.
So at 21, Fawkes cashes out, sells his estate, and ships off to fight for the Spanish army. He even starts going by Guido to sound more continental. And this is where he becomes a pro. He wasn't some amateur. He was a hardened soldier known for being cool under pressure and, most importantly, for being an absolute expert with explosives. And that skill? That's what made him the perfect man for a very, very dangerous job.
Which brings us to the plot itself. See, when King James I came to the throne, English Catholics had a little bit of hope that things might get better. But that hope got crushed fast. The king brought back penalties and ordered all Catholic priests out of the country. For a small group of radicals, that was the last straw. They decided that negotiation was over. It was time for one single, catastrophic blow. And their plan was just staggering. We're not just talking about assassinating the king. No, their goal was to wipe out the entire Protestant government, the king, his nobles, everybody, in one fiery blast. The plan was to create a total power vacuum, which they would then fill by putting a Catholic monarch on the throne.
And how were they going to do it? With this. 2.5 metric tons of gunpowder. That's 36 barrels of the stuff, stashed in a cellar right under the House of Lords. This wasn't just enough to kill everyone in the building. It was enough to level the whole area and send a message of pure terror across the kingdom.
Now, it's really important to remember, Guy Fawkes wasn't the leader. A lot of people think he was, but he wasn't. The real mastermind was this guy, Robert Catesby. He was the charismatic leader who put the whole team together. Fawkes was the specialist. He was the muscle, the bomb guy they brought in to handle the dirty work.
But, as we all know, the plan didn't work. It was a spectacular failure. Just days before they were set to light the fuse, one single, mysterious letter brought the entire conspiracy crashing down around them.
And this is it, the Monteagle letter. It was sent anonymously to a Catholic lord, basically telling him, hey, don't show up to Parliament, find an excuse. To this day, we still have no idea who wrote it. Was it one of the plotters who got cold feet? We'll probably never know. But this letter sealed their fate.
So just after midnight on November 5th, the authorities stormed the cellars, and there he is, Guy Fawkes, standing guard over the gunpowder. At first, he was totally defiant. But the government had its ways of making people talk. And this quote? This is from King James himself, authorizing the use of torture. It's a pretty chilling look into how justice worked back then.
For days, Fawkes actually held out. He refused to give up the names of his co-conspirators. But eventually, the rack broke him. After being subjected to unimaginable pain, he confessed everything. If you ever see his signature on his confession, it's the shaky, barely legible scrawl, a horrifying testament to what he went through. The government immediately went to work making an example of him. November 5th became a national holiday, a day to celebrate being saved from the Catholic plotters. And over the centuries, it just kind of evolved. What started as a serious religious day turned into a big party, and eventually people started burning an effigy of the Guy. That's how Guy Fawkes became a folk devil, the boogeyman for an entire nation. And for almost 400 years, that's all he was, a traitor, a villain whose effigy kids burned on a bonfire once a year. But then, in the 1980s, something completely unexpected happened. A comic book came along and decided to completely reinvent his story.
This graphic novel, V for Vendetta, was an absolute game changer. The creators, Alan Moore and David Lloyd, took this historical bad guy and flipped the script entirely. Their hero, this mysterious anarchist named V, puts on a Guy Fawkes mask and wages war against a tyrannical government in a dark, dystopian version of Britain.
And I mean, just look at this comparison. It was a complete ideological 180. The real Fawkes was a reactionary, fighting for a religious state. V was a revolutionary, fighting for no state at all. The comic kept the idea of blowing up Parliament, but gave it a brand new anarchist motivation.
Then, in 2005, the movie version hit theaters, and suddenly this image was everywhere. A few years later, the online group Anonymous started using the mask in their real-world protests, and it was perfect for them. It was cheap, easy to get, and it gave them instant anonymity. More than that, it gave a leaderless, internet-based movement a powerful real-world brand.
From that point on, the mask took on a life of its own. It wasn't just a movie prop anymore. It had jumped off the screen and into the streets, becoming a genuine symbol of rebellion for activists all over the world.
And you can see its reach here, from the Occupy movement protesting Wall Street to the pro-democracy protests in Hong Kong. And you know a symbol is powerful when governments start trying to ban it. The fact that countries like Bahrain and Saudi Arabia made it illegal to even sell the mask, that tells you everything you need to know. You don't ban a symbol unless you're afraid of it.
And this is the final, beautiful irony of the whole story. The ultimate symbol of anti-corporate, anti-capitalist protest is a copyrighted product. Every single time one of these masks is sold, a little bit of that money goes right back to a massive media corporation, Warner Bros. So the very act of protesting the system is, in a small way, feeding it. It's a paradox that makes your head spin a little, right?
In the end, the historical Guy Fawkes is basically irrelevant now. He's been completely overshadowed by the symbol he accidentally inspired. His face, filtered through a comic book and a movie, has become this permanent, bulletproof idea. It leaves you with a really fascinating thought. Can a symbol totally break free from its history? And does it even matter where it came from, as long as the people wearing it know what it means to them, right now?